Welcome to another episode of the James Nolan Podcast. Haven't gone live and done a pod in a long time. Well, really 2 days. The Mets, they broke my heart. They broke my heart. It was a great run, memorable run for sure. And we're going to get into that to start the show. But we're not only going to be talking Mets today. The Yankees are facing the Dodgers in the World Series. It's going to be a good one. Even though my Mets aren't in there and I am heartbroken by that. I really do hope the Dodgers win and I hope the Yankees lose. But at the end of the day, I also hate the Dodgers. So I am going to hate the outcome of this World Series no matter what. But with that said, it is going to be a great World Series just for MLB fans, for baseball fans like us, like you guys watching. So we got to be excited for that. I mean, we're going to get Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani. If Judge performs the way Judge does, I think the Yankees can actually win this series against this loaded Los Angeles Dodgers team. They brought Juan Soto in for a reason, to provide them with moments like he did in Game 5 of the ALDS. They brought in Giancarlo Stanton a few years ago, not just to have great regular seasons, and he really hasn't. I mean, let's be real. He struggled almost in every single regular season he's been with the Yankees. But in every single postseason, he does exactly what he gets paid to do. He performs. So Stanton, Judge, Soto going up against Betts, Ohtani, Freeman, for sure going to be a showdown. Yankees pitching staff, I mean, Carlos Rodon has looked fantastic in his past 2 starts. Garrett Cole, I mean, you got to just have faith that he can be the Garrett Cole we all know he can be. His last few starts in the postseason haven't gone too well, but you just got to have faith that Garrett Cole can be Garrett Cole. You got to keep your fingers crossed with the bullpen. Luke Weaver, he's done great outside of one bad appearance so far in the postseason. He's actually done really well. So has Clay Holmes outside of one bad appearance. Tommy Canley, he's been on fire. Nestor Cortez could be joining the bullpen, could be joining the starting rotation. Who knows, but he is back. The Yankees are going to be carrying 13 pitchers in this series, so that's going to be interesting to see. It seems like they are ready to go to town with these bullpen arms. Carrying 13 pitchers is something that you should have your eyes open to. But we're also going to be talking Jets and Giants today, both 2-5, both the Mets. I mean, the Giants we expected to be 2-5. Let's be real. Daniel didn't start in week 8, but he did get benched in the fourth quarter after a 28-3 blowout loss to the Eagles. Jets. The Jets, same old freaking Jets. With Devontae Adams, you get the good news on Saturday morning that Hassan Reddick will be joining the team pretty soon. All that, nothing to show for on Sunday Night Football against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They made Russell Wilson look like prime Russell Wilson in the second half. Aaron Rodgers throws 2 interceptions. Granted, one wasn't on him. Garrett Wilson has to improve. That's something we're going to get into as well. But the Jets, they fire Robert Saleh, and it does not fix anything so far. So what has to change? We're going to get into that. And on the Giants' perspective, Brian Daboll, he's been the offensive play caller all year, and this offense has done squat. Granted, he wants to go deep. Daniel Jones, afraid to go deep. So what has to happen for them to improve? A lot. But we're going to get into that because their defense is actually pretty good. Intriguing defense that they have. And also the weapons they have brought in. I mean, I do like Tracy, the running back. I love Malik Neighbors. I do like Wan'Dale Robinson. So Daniel Jones is certainly the problem. They need to make a QB change. But at the end of the day, Daboll said it best. He gives them the best option to win right now. But at the end of the day, if he's not going to be the guy, you might as well give somebody else a shot. I'm not saying it's Drew Lock. Yes, I am saying it's Tommy DeVito. Call me crazy, but whatever. Let's talk about the Mets. We'll get the bad news out of the way. They fell to the Dodgers in the NLCS. They did go 6 games against the best team in baseball, though. So you got to give them credit. A team that started 0-5, 11 games under 500, all that story, all that storyline that builds up this hype for the Mets. They had a fantastic run after June 1st. They were the best team in baseball. They played more games up to this point than any other team in baseball right now. So the Mets were tired. You saw it in the NLCS. The Dodgers, I mean, it taught me a lot of things. I had 3 big takeaways from this series. 1, nothing sad. Like, I am definitely hurt that the Mets lost for sure. I wish they won, obviously. But at the end of the day, this was just not their year. And what they gave us was more than we ever expected. So you got to give this team a lot of credit. but I do think we are a lot closer than we thought we were at the start of 2024. That's what I will say. Francisco Lindor, he is comfortable. We see it. He loves the city. He loves Mets Nation. He's the one who named it. He loves this team. He's a leader. I expect really since the second half of 2023, Lindor has consistently played like an MVP. He's consistently been the best shortstop in the National League, if maybe even the whole entire MLB. That's how good Lindor has been playing since the second half of 2023. We're seeing a comfortable Lindor now. Now, it remains to be seen what happens with Pete Alonso. We're going to get into that in just a bit. I think he's a must re-sign. But Jesse Winker, he's also going to be, I believe he's a free agent, but he's also a must re-sign in my opinion. And the reason why I'm saying these bats are must re-signs, and even if we get Juan Soto, I don't care about the money. Steve Cohen has it. We saw what the Dodgers have. The Dodgers have an absolutely stacked lineup. They can put up run after run after run after run after run. No matter, it would really, when the Dodgers put up 6 on the Mets on Sunday, I said to myself, you know what? It's going to take more than 6 runs anyways for the Mets to beat the Dodgers. So this game is still very winnable for the Mets, actually. But then the Dodgers just kept pouring on more and more and more. And the Mets didn't come through with runners in scoring position a lot. They left 13 runners on base this past Sunday. In Game 4, they went 0 for 10 with with runners in scoring position. So Mets, they were silent in the NLCS. They were great in the DS, great in the wild card, great after the June 1st. But the NLCS, they were tired. Like I said before, they played more games up to this point still, than any other team in MLB. But I do have a lot of takeaways from this series. Like I said, we need offense. We need offense. A lot of it. We got Vientos, we got Lindor, we got Nimmo, McNeil. Hopefully he's healthy. These are all great things. But Alonso, I think he is a must re-sign, especially after the postseason. Postseason, Alonso went off. Pete Alonso in the 2024 postseason hit 273, 999 OPS, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. And he was just finding ways to get it done. In elimination games, he was just off the freaking charts. Even in Game 6. You could talk all you want about his base hits there, but you know what? In the scorecard, it says it's a base hit. And he got RBIs out of him too. So you got to give a lot of credit to Alonso this postseason. He really stepped it up, made a lot of moments. So in regard to the Mets re-signing Pete Alonso, I think they should. That's the first takeaway that I had from this postseason. Definitely you have those questions, but I think the Dodgers series definitely even emphasized it even more. We need offense. Yes, we need pitching for sure. But if we want to be back at the NLCS next year or years to come, we ain't getting past the Dodgers with just losing Pete Alonso and adding Juan Soto. Now you keep Pete Alonso, maybe you bring back Jesse Winker. Who knows? You bring in Juan Soto. Who cares? But even no matter who you get, Bregman, anybody, any big bat that's coming up in the free agents, you have to re-sign Alonso because the Dodgers lineup is stacked. Even the Phillies lineup is stacked. The Padres lineup is stacked. You need offense. Now, let's say the Mets do sign Soto. I'm not saying they are, but a lot of Mets fans are convinced that Soto will be a New York Mets simply because everyone knows he is going to take the most money, and Cohen is not afraid, I think, to offer him the most money. I still think he will remain a Yankee, but let's say he does, because that is a big factor on if the Mets are going to re-sign Pete Alonso. If they end up with Soto, do we really care if they don't get Alonso? I think we kind of should. One, yes, he's a homegrown Met, 6 seasons here. A lot of moments that he produced in the postseason for us. You want to see him in a Met uniform forever, for sure. But not even that. Like I said before, if we want to get past the Phillies and the Dodgers for years to come in the future, if we want to get past Ohtani, Mookie, Freddie Freeman next year, because we can really be back next year. I really think we can. We are much better than, like I said before, we are much better than I thought we were at the beginning of 2024. I said in the beginning of 2024, that if we sign JD Martinez, Lindor plays the way he did in the second half, and we get some good stuff out of this pitching staff, then we will for sure be in the postseason. Now, I didn't think they would go on this type of run in the postseason, even going into the playoffs. I didn't think the Mets were going to be this good, and they were. They were. I was getting ready. I mentally prepared myself for a first round in the wild card exit or the NLDS exit. I mentally prepared myself for it. And I'm not gonna lie, I didn't do it for the NLCS. I didn't. Because going into the series, I was like, you know what? The Mets can actually do this. And then we got a reality check. And that reality check is that the Dodgers offense is insane. And if we want to go up against it, not only do I think signing Juan Soto is a good option, I think bringing back Pete Alonso is just the right option, no matter what happens. Bring him back. It's hard to replace that. Alonso, you look at his career numbers. This was a down year for him, and he hit 34 home runs. But Pete, this year he finished with a 240 batting average, 788 OPS, 34 home runs. That's a down year for him somehow. Yes, with runners in scoring position, he didn't hit, but we all thought he wasn't big time, and he showed up in big time moments in the playoffs. So I think we can put that to rest. But you look at his whole entire career outside of the COVID year. Let's talk 5 full seasons for Pete Alonso. 3 of those he hit over 40 home runs. 1 of those he hit over 50. So 3 seasons out of all his full seasons, 5 full seasons, 3 of them over 40 home runs, over 100 RBIs. How are you going to replace that? Because in 2022, when we won over 100 games, you take Pete Alonso off that team, we don't win over 100 games. And even if you take Pete Alonso off this team, how are you fixing the 34 home runs this year? How many RBIs did he have this year? I actually don't know how many RBIs he had this year. But anyways, let's see right here. We're pulling it up. Thank you. Pete this year had 88 RBIs, and that's a down year, like I said before, for him. And he also played in 160 games. That's another big factor. You look at his career overall, 2023, 154, 2022, 160, 2021, 152, and then 2019, 161, 2020, 57 out of the 60. So Alonso is durable. He's never really gotten hurt. And he's a consistent guy that's going to provide you, I'd say, at least 40 home runs. The last time he had a down year was 2021. He bounced back and had a career year in 2022. I mean, a career year for him is really 2019, but I mean, after that, 2022, it's a toss-up there. I mean, he only hit 40 home runs on the dot, but he led the MLB in RBIs with 131 that year. He also had a 271 batting average, 870 OPS. So he was he was spraying the ball all over, not just home runs. Extra base hits in the clutch, too. Like I said before, you take him off that 2022 roster, they don't win 100 games. And then in 2024, I mean, he hit 240. And then you look at his number, that's not bad. I mean, in 2023, he hit 217. But I think Pete Alonso at his best is 2021. 2021 even, he had 262 and 37 bombs. So this was his worst year for sure, but I don't think it necessarily means that Pete's on the decline. He can 100% bounce back. We saw it in the postseason. He still has it. Boomer doom for the Mets from Bobby's in spit. We're going boom, man. We're going boom. I think we're going to be right back in the NLCS in 2024. Mark my words right now. Rizzler or Big Justice? Duh. Rizzler, man. Rizzler's for the Mets, baby. Yankees got Big Justice, though. They got the boom for sure. But we got the Riz. We got the Riz. But Rizzler does want Pete. Rizzler wants Pete. Okay. Rizzler wants Pete. I think every Met fan wants Pete Alonso at this point, though. I really do. You got to bring him back. It's going to be hard to replace his production in that lineup. I mean, his overall numbers over his career suggest that he's not going to be on a decline. He just had a down year. And like I said before, this is a down year for him, really. 34 home runs, 88 RBIs. But another takeaway I had from this playoffs for the Mets Mark Vientos is for sure a future All-Star, maybe even next year. I mean, you look at his numbers. I included his numbers with the postseason because he played in only 110 games in the regular season, and that's after he got called up. Didn't miss any time due to injury or anything like that. But then he had 27 home runs in 110 games. That's intriguing. Think about that over 162 games. Even like 140, 150. But in 124 games, that's including the postseason, Vientos hit 274, 32 home runs with 84 games. A 24-year-old hit 32 home runs and 85 RBIs. We got to start talking about Mark Vientos a lot more. Mark Vientos isn't just a young prospect that's performing. No, Mark Vientos is a guy, is one of the guys, maybe even going into next year, the best overall hitter on the Mets. I mean, Lindor, like I said a few weeks ago, he's 100% the best player on the Mets all around. And you could even say he's the best hitter. But it remains to be seen with Mark Vientos. It's definitely a toss-up. And I don't think that's a hot take. I don't think it's a bad take. Just look at the numbers. Vientos, let's put it up on the screen. 274 batting average, 32 home runs, 85 RBIs, and 124 games, including the postseason and regular season. I think Vientos is legit. He showed that in the playoffs. I mean, he's up there for postseason MVP in the National League. Mark Vientos in the postseason, his overall numbers in the 13 games, 327 batting average, 362 on base percentage, 998 OPS, 5 home runs, tied with Giancarlo Stanton right now. 18 hits across those 13 games, 14 RBIs across those 13 games, scored 8 times. So Vientos, yeah, he's got it in him. I think he's a future All-Star as soon as next year, as long as he stays healthy. Knocking on wood there. But, I mean, there's no doubt about it. This guy needs to be talked about more. Going into next year, he's going to be one of the best hitters in the lineup. I think it attracts guys like Juan Soto or Alex Bregman to come to this team even more now that you have, even no matter what happens with Alonso, you still have Lindor and Vientos who have the potential to hit over 30 home runs next year. And Vientos, we don't even know. Maybe he can over 40, like I said before, depending on how many games he plays. He hit 27 in 110. So, yeah. And another takeaway is that we need pitching. We need freaking pitching because you look at the players that we're losing as free agents. Pete Alonso is definitely Luis Severino and Jose Quintana, 3 big pieces of the Mets. We're also losing Ryan Stanek out of the bullpen. He's really the only guy I'd re-sign bullpen-wise. So bring back Stanek. Sean Manaea is really the only guy I'd bring back starting-wise, too. I mean, Severino, I think he had a great year. I think it's definitely a toss-up to bring him back, maybe on another 1 or 2 year deal. But I don't think we should bring back Jose Quintana. David Peterson, his left-hand arm, I think is good enough. And you got to look at bringing in an actual ace. And I know Kodai Senga is an ace, but we need more. We need freaking more. You look at the 2015 Mets. What do they have? They had pitching. DeGrom, Harvey, Syndergaard. Like, we were lights out. That's what carried us into the World Series that year. It wasn't as much as it was the bats. Yes, Daniel Murphy, Cespedes, Curtis Granderson even had a good World Series. David Wright had some moments. But it was the pitching. And the Mets need more of that. Luckily, I want Sean Manaea back. I think we have the leverage there. He does have a player option. He's definitely going to decline it. He's due. He earned whatever money he's going to get. He earned. He had a great year. And in the postseason, he delivered outside of the last game against the Dodgers. But you got to like, some of these arms that are in free agency. My dog hears somebody else's dog barking. Great. But you got to like some of these other arms in free agency. So bring back Manaea or Severino for sure. But if you can bring in like a Blake Snell or a Corbin Burns who will be free agents, I think that's even better. Now, I'd say get Snell, get Manaea. Give me him, Snell, Manaea, Peterson as those left-handers. You got Senga, and then throw McGill in there at number 5. Why not? I think that'd be an elite rotation that gets them back to the NLCS. You look at Blake Snell's numbers after, let's see. Overall, Blake Snell didn't really have a great year. He started off the year slow, but that's due to part. He didn't sign until the MLB year started in 2024. But you look at his stats in the last, and this is a two-time Cy Young Award winner I'm talking about too. So I think, yeah, we should target Blake Snell. Blake Snell in the last 15 games of 2024, 5-0, ERA of 1.48, 121 strikeouts. That's an ace. That's an ace. Give him a 3-4 year deal. I mean, he's legit. You can say confidently that guy's going to give you work. So I'd go out there. I'd get Snell. I'd re-sign Manaea. And like I said, that completes your rotation right there. That's Snell, Senga, Manaea, Peterson, and McGill. And then you got to just add some bullpen arms from there. Like I said, starts with signing Ryan Stanek. Devin Williams is reportedly on the trade block. I mean, maybe if you really want to go for it, go for it. You know, Cohen, everyone's saying he's afraid to spend after the Justin Verlander, Max Scherzer scenario. But then again, those were veterans over 40 years old. He's not going to be afraid to go after a Soto or a Devin Williams. Like, these guys are young. They still got years left in them. So, Blake Snell, on the other hand, he's not that old either. I mean, how old is Blake Snell? Let's see. He's north of 30. 31 years old. 3 to 4 year deal. Why not? Let's do it. That's what I do. That gets the Mets back to the NLCS. And will the Mets bring in Juan Soto? I have no freaking clue. But like I said before, Cohen has a lot of money. And Cohen, yes, maybe he was hesitant to spend money last offseason because there wasn't a particular guy he liked. But also, the guys he did let go, they were over 40 years old too. You got to take that into account. He's not afraid to spend on the young guys. I mean, he gave Lindor $300 million. He gave Brandon Nimmo over $160 million. Gave Senga $75 million, and he hadn't even thrown a single pit in the MLB before he got that contract. So, if I'm Cohen, I'm throwing the world at Juan Soto. Because like I said before, what I do this offseason, I re-sign Manaea, I re-sign Ryan Stanek, build the bullpen up a little bit more outside of there. I'm not going to tell you which bullpen arm is going to be great because let's be real. David Stearns, he can put the pieces together with the bullpen. I can confidently say that. But what I will say is Soto, Manaea, and Snell. Give me those three, and that's the perfect Mets offseason right there. And then also re-sign Alonso, of course. Then that would cap off the perfect Mets offseason. And then I would really consider bringing back Jesse Winker. Because Jesse Winker had a phenomenal postseason, and that's what I'll end on. You look at Jesse Winker's numbers for the freaking Mets in the playoffs. I mean, even in Game 6, 1 for 3 again. Finished the postseason with a .318 batting average in 10 games. 1.167 OPS. Scored 7 times. Got on base with 7 walks. Even at a huge stolen base, that got us the insurance run against Milwaukee in Game 3 of the wild card. So I think you got to even talk about re-signing Jesse Winker too. But yeah, that's it for the Mets today. 3 main takeaways: re-sign Pete, add some arms in this bullpen and in the starting rotation. Maybe bring back Manaea. Maybe sign Blake Snell. Vientos for sure a star. 274 batting average, 32 home runs, 85 RBIs in 124 total games, including the postseason this year. He was a beast. He's definitely a future star. And I lied. I'm going to end on this. Is Carlos Mendoza the long-term answer? I think 100 freaking percent. Yes, he struggled. He tried to go with his gut with JD Martinez a few times. At the end of the day, this guy took us from 11 games under 500 all the way to Game 6 in the NLCS against the best team in baseball. So is Mendoza the long-term answer? The guys love him. I love him. Fans love him. I for sure hope. I for sure freaking hope. Let's see if the Mets can get back to the playoffs in 2024. I think they can, but it really does depend on this offseason. They're losing a lot of key guys. Manaea, Severino, Quintana, Pete Alonso, Jesse Winker, Ryan Stanek. I can go on and on. They're losing so many guys. But they're also keeping Lindor. They're keeping Vientos. They're keeping Nimmo. They're keeping even Marte, who Marte had a great postseason too. So they're keeping some good guys. Harrison Bader, they're also losing. Great defensive center fielder for the Mets all year. I think that was a great signing by David Stearns. So there's a lot of guys. Jose Iglesias. I can't leave him out. Iglesias is a guy I would bring back. I think it's going to be cheap too. He wants to be here as well. But yeah, Mets got a lot of things to do in the offseason. So let's see what Stearns does. Make sure you check out my recent article on Fansided. It was 3 takeaways that David Stearns did have, or should have had, I should say, from the postseason of 2024. But yeah, Yankees, man, the freaking New York Yankees are in the World Series for the first time since 2009, and they're going up against the Los Angeles Dodgers, who just ripped our hearts out if you're a Mets fan. But this matchup is better than ever. This is a great, close matchup. Like I said before at the start of the show, you got Judge, you got Soto, you got Stanton going up against Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani. Like, this is a freaking heavyweight bout. You got Garrett Cole. You got Carlos Rodon, the $160 million man who actually had 2 great back-to-back starts for the Yankees. You got Louis Hill, who actually kind of can trust him a little bit. We're going to talk about his start against the Dodgers this year where Shohei Ohtani went 0-3 against him. So maybe he is going to be an option. He's going to have to be. It's a 7-game series. And then Clark Schmidt, the reliable guy. So going up against the Dodgers freaking rotation of Jack Flaherty, who's phenomenal, Yamamoto, who's phenomenal. The bullpen game they'll probably face. And then Walker Buehler, who I have no clue what they're going to get out of Walker Buehler. Are you going to get the guy that faced the Mets? And then again, it could have been the Mets. Or it could have been Walker Buehler. If it was Walker Buehler, Yankees got to be a little scared. But what Garrett Cole do you get? What Aaron Judge do you get? These are questions that I do have headed into this series. Because if you do get, let's start off with Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, right away. First off, in the postseason right now, he's not that good. It's terrible still. 161 batting average, only 2 home runs, 6 RBIs across these 9 games. Judge needs to be the regular season Aaron Judge if they want to beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. Simple. You get Aaron Judge because I think Stanton can continue this ride. I think Soto is going to continue to perform. The question is which type of Aaron Judge are you going to get? Now, the good news for Judge and Yankee fans, in 10 games in his career versus the Los Angeles Dodgers, 389 batting average, 8 home runs, 1.575 OPS. Woo! Good numbers. Great numbers. Judge has to do this all series. 100%. They need Aaron Judge. He can cement his legacy. That they did, Boogie. That they did. Thank you. You to go, man. You to go. But the Yankees do freaking need Aaron Judge badly. They need Aaron Judge badly because the Dodgers, they're no joke. Us Mets fans saw it. They are going to need Judge. Judge, like I said, 161 batting average this playoffs. Now they get the regular season Judge. I think the Yankees have a very good shot at winning this World Series. They don't, then they need even more from Stanton. They need even more from Soto. Soto's been having a fantastic postseason, but Stanton has definitely been their MVP. Stanton in the postseason, 294 batting average, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 1.179 OPS. I think he's right up there with Vientos, probably above Vientos as the playoff MVP right now overall. I'm not sure if they do NLAL, but Stanton, if he continues this in the postseason, first off, this is huge. This production headed into the World Series, if this continues, it's huge for the Yankees. Because originally you're thinking, oh, man, we got Aaron Judge who's slumping and Juan Soto, who we thank God we traded for him, right? Because Aaron Judge is slumping. And then Stanton, you're not really expecting too much because he was kind of down in the regular season, slumped after his injury, after he came back. So you didn't really know what you were going to get out of Stanton, even though he had great postseason success with the Yankees beforehand. But he is having his best postseason for sure with the Yankees right now. Like I said before, definitely a consideration for postseason MVP. I think the favorite right now. But it's going to be interesting to see this freaking series and see which Stanton we get. Because if you get this Stanton, I think the Yankees, even without Judge, still have a semi-good shot. But if they get this Stanton, they get regular season Aaron Judge, and they get regular Juan Soto, I mean, they're going to win this series. I think they can. They got better pitching. At least on paper. Garrett Cole has been struggling as of late. Cole in the regular season, I talked about it all year. His overall numbers weren't great after he came back from his injury, but at the end of the day, he really only had 4 bad starts, 2 to the Red Sox, 2 to the Mets. In the postseason right now, 3 games, he's allowed 6 earned runs, 2 bad games so far. Last time he faced Cleveland, goes 4.1 innings, allows 6 hits, 2 earned runs allowed, 4 strikeouts, 4 walks. Walks killed him. We all know as Mets fans, walks kill. You walk this Dodgers team, you walk Shohei Ohtani, they're gonna freaking find a way to score. So Garrett Cole can't be walking people like he did in his last start against Cleveland. That's good because he's pitching game 1, and that'll be good to go for game 5 or game 6 or maybe even game 4 and then maybe game 7. Pitch him on short rest maybe. But really only one good start in the postseason so far. Game 1 against Kansas City, 5 innings, 7 hits allowed, 4 runs, 3 earned runs. When he pitched against Kansas City in his second appearance against them, he did very well. 7 innings of work, 4 strikeouts, 1 earned run allowed, 6 hits allowed. So which Cole are you going to get? I don't know, but I think he's due for a vintage Garrett Cole start. So you got to keep your fingers crossed with Garrett Cole. When he's Garrett Cole, we all know what he can do. Yankees are carrying 13 pitchers. That's a big part because Nestor Cortez Jr. is returning to the Yankees. Up and down year, all year for him. And then the injury happens. It was a big blow because he was starting to actually pitch well. But I think it's going to be huge for the Yankees to get this guy back. No matter how many innings you get out of him, whether it's 2, 3, to bridge you to Clay Holmes, Tommy Canley, and Luke Weaver. Pair him up. Let's see what he can do. I'm not against it. I think it's definitely going to be intriguing. But Boogie, Jack Flaherty shut out Yankees last year, so Yankees need to make adjustment. That is true. That is true. I did not know that. Thank you for that. But yeah, Flaherty, the Mets, like Dave Roberts said he was. Maybe it was just excuses, but he did get rocked. I think the Yankees is kind of what the Mets did to him when they beat up on him. Swing early, strike out. I do, yes. But one rock was actually against Ohtani. Ohtani was 0 for 3 in a game versus Louis Hill this season. His final line against that game in that game against the Dodgers: 5.2 innings, 5 strikeouts, 3 earned runs, 5 hits, and a home run. So I think they got to trust Hill. Like I said before, it's a 7-game series, so you got to put him on the mound. They had to do it in the ALDS, and he actually didn't do that bad. Only let up 2 runs, I believe, over 4.1 innings of work. So got to keep your fingers crossed when he goes out there for sure. But if he gets ahead in the count and he doesn't get behind in the count, we all know, like in the first half of the season, that was his strong point. He got ahead in the count. He was able to put away guys. When he gets behind in the count like he did in the second half a lot, he gets hit. He lets up walks. And then, like I said before, walks just lead to runs no matter what. And especially if you're walking this Dodgers team. Especially if you're walking this freaking Dodgers team. But yeah, the Yankees, I kind of do like their odds. If they play at their best, they can beat the Dodgers. But will they be at their best? Will Judge do what he's done against the Dodgers through 10 games in his career? 389 batting average, 8 home runs, 1.575 OPS. Or will he do what he's done all postseason so far, where he's hit 161, only 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in 9 games? And is Stanton going to continue his great postseason where he's hit 294, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs, 1.179 OPS? And Juan Soto as well, who sent the Yankees to the World Series Game 4 against Cleveland. So, which Yankees team are we going to get? Are we going to get the first half Yankees? Are we going to get the second half Yankees? Are we going to get the good Clay Holmes? Are we going to get the good Luke Weaver? Like, they've struggled in the last few appearances. Then again, they have pitched almost every single freaking game. Tommy Canley hasn't let up a run. That's kind of scary because at some point, is he going to let up a run or is he going to continue to dominate? I'm a numbers guy. Sometimes you're due. I'm not saying Canley is going to, but he is due. At a bad time, he could also continue this. So, like I said, Yankees play at their best. I think they win this series. Then again, if Judge don't play well, if Cole don't pitch well, kiss the World Series goodbye. Kiss that 28th championship goodbye. Because the Dodgers are no freaking joke. I will say that right now. They assembled this team to be here and beat teams like the Yankees. They brought Ohtani, Mookie Betts, Freddie Freeman. They didn't draft them. They brought them here. Same thing with Jack Flaherty. Same thing with Yamamoto. Max Muncy, another guy, so freaking annoying. Tommy Edman, who's lighting it up in the postseason. The Dodgers got guys. Teoscar Hernandez struggled here and there in the postseason so far, but still you got to worry about him. So it's going to be a great World Series. I'm excited to see the fields. It's going to be awesome. Box office. Box office. All right, I'm going to take a quick break here. Then we're going to get back into the show with a little bit of football. The Jets, they freaking sucked. The Giants, they freaking sucked. Jets are losers of 4 straight. Both New York teams with the same freaking record. Can you believe that? Can you freaking believe that? But the Knicks, they have a chance to make us Mets, Jets fans happy, or Mets, Giants fans, because their season starts tonight against the Boston Celtics. And if we beat them, that's a great freaking sign, because just like the Dodgers, they assembled their team to win a freaking championship. So we're going to be talking Jets, Giants, and Knicks next on the James Nolan podcast. Stay here, stay with me, and we'll be right back. Last 80 games of 2023, 284 batting average, 15 home runs, 44 RBIs. If we get that Lindor for a full year, and now I'm not saying last year he didn't have a all year. Look at the numbers. Last year, 2023, Lindor was a top shortstop. He was an all MLB shortstop. 30-30. He was a beast. But in the last 80 games, the second half, that's when Lindor really turned it up. If we get that Lindor for a full season, the Mets are going to make the playoffs. They're going to make the playoffs. And Lindor will be an MVP candidate. He has MVP potential. I've said it since the Mets have traded for him. Francisco Lindor has the talent, has the ability to win an MVP. He is that good. But he's inconsistent at times. I cannot ignore that. But over the last 80 games of 2023, he was pretty consistent. And he was probably the best, second best, right after Corey Seager. But he was arguably the best shortstop in all of baseball the last 80 games. That's what Lindor can be. And if we get that for a full year, not only will he be an MVP candidate, but the Mets will be in the postseason. He's that good. Lindor is that good. Now, I'm not saying he's going to win the MVP, but I've been saying it since we've traded for him. He has it in him. He does have it in him. Last year, undoubtedly his best year. Second half, he was the best shortstop in baseball. We get that for a full year. Mets are going to the playoffs. Let's go over to the DH, and then we'll get into the Yankees. Jorge Soler wants at least 3 years. If he wants 3 years and he's going to get 3 years, stay away from it. Last year, he was great, 30-plus home runs. Probably had the best year of his career. But he's also 31. He's had 11 years. It took him 11 years to have that type of year. I'm not saying that he's going to have that year for the next 3 years. I would stay away. So that gets me into my next guy, JD Martinez. I wrote a piece on it just last week. JD Martinez is a perfect fit with the Mets. Perfect fit. You got guys like Vientos. You got guys like Beatty. You got guys like Francisco Alvarez. You got all these young guys that you want to have them make an impact for the Mets eventually in the future. Not only can JD Martinez help you now, but he's not going to take away at bats from those guys, one. And two, he could help those young guys. And he could be the DH for this year. He could help the Mets in 2023. That's really the simple answer. Why is he a perfect fit with the Mets? Because he would help them win in 2024. Down the road, is he going to affect the Mets? No, because it would only take a 1 or 2 year deal. Guy's 38. And guess what? I'm not going to say he's washed, because guess what? He's 3 years in a row, he's made the All-Star team. 3 consecutive years. JD Martinez is the furthest thing from washed up. Just last year, 33 home runs, over 100 RBIs, 271 batting average. Lindor, Alonso, JD Martinez, Francisco Alvarez. 4 guys right there who have 30-plus home run potential. He makes the Mets lineup a playoff lineup. Mets, go out there and sign JD Martinez. Complete this lineup. What do you guys think? Should the Mets sign JD Martinez? I think he's a great fit here. But then again, I'm not David Stearns. So only time will tell. Spring training starts tomorrow. So I don't think he's going to get signed before spring training, but before the regular season starts, they got to figure out what they're going to do with the DH. Is it Vientos? Is it Beatty? Or do they go out there and they get a veteran like JD Martinez who would help them win in... All right, man. We are back. James Olin, Pop. Thank you for staying with me. All right. Talk Mets, talk Yankees. If you want to hear that, scroll back to the show. We started off the Mets, got into a little Yankees. Now we're going to get into some Jets. Touch on the Giants for a bit. Daniel Jones is definitely a problem. Malik Neighbors was pissed off after that 28-3 blowout loss. And then the Knicks. In an hour, the season freaking begins. You got to be pumped for these Knicks. Karl Anthony Towns joining the superstar Jalen Brunson. McCall Bridges, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. This starting 5 is probably one of the best, if not the best, since the 90s. Yeah, I'd say better than the Melo Knicks. But the Jets, man. 4 straight losses for Aaron Rodgers and the freaking New York Jets, man. Can you believe it? Aaron Rodgers, 7 interceptions in 7 games. They got the Patriots this upcoming week, and they got to beat up on them for sure. But the Jets' offensive line, terrible. Tyron Smith, falsely advertised. He's sucked so far. Aaron Rodgers, he's sucked so far. Also falsely advertised. Supposed to be this elite quarterback. I've talked about him all. We're going to get the 4-time MVP quarterback. We're getting the washed-up Aaron Rodgers right now. Zach Wilson has actually thrown less interceptions than he has when the Jets started their first 7 games last year. So, Rodgers sucks. Garrett Wilson sucks. Breece Hall, he's pretty good. Outside of that, the Jets' entire offense sucks. They all suck. They all got to be better. Something needs to change. I mean, they look pretty good in the first half. We see glimpses of it all the time. Rodgers making a connection with Wilson and Devontae Adams, and then Garrett Wilson with a crucial freaking drop. And how many times this season is Garrett Wilson going to have crucial drops that end up affecting the Jets? Changes the whole entire complexion of the game. And it's downhill from there. Russell Wilson looked like prime Russell Wilson in the second half against this Jets defense. And I'm going to cut the Jets defense some slack because once they do get Hassan Reddick back, I think they will be that dominant defense. We saw it in the first few games of the season. They can be that dominant defense. Well, they will be. But also, Jeff Goldberg looks lost. I think this is a lot for him, for sure. But since Robert Saleh has been fired, nothing has changed for the New York Jets. Absolutely nothing. If anything, it's gotten worse. And that's with adding Devontae Adams. So let's see if Hassan Reddick can save the Jets. They sit at 2-5 right now. If they lose 2 or 3 more games, their season might be done. And then you really got to consider, why is Rodgers even playing? Risk an injury. Are you going to go at it next year, or are you just going to call it quits? Get out of here. If we lose 3 more games, Rodgers, he should call it quits. 9-8, that would put us right on the bubble, and I don't think we're getting in with 9-8. 10-7, I think we could do it. Maybe. 11-6, that's doable for sure. But 10-7 is really the minimum. The absolute minimum. We got the Bills on our schedule still. We got the Houston Texans on our schedule still. We got the Miami Dolphins, who are getting Tua back, on our schedule twice. So that's 4 tough games right there outside of everybody else. I mean, the Seahawks are still pretty good, so that's another 5th tough game right there. So the Jets, this is alarming. You got to hit the panic button. Patriots, you got to beat them. And then when we play the Texans, ultimately, I'd say let's cut them some slack. They're the Texans, but at the end of the day, one, Aaron Rodgers, he's talking about winning 10 games in a row. If you want to be one of those type of teams, you got to beat teams like the Houston Texans. I'm sorry. This is awful football. The Kansas City Chiefs, the Detroit Lions on the NFC side, if they want to be one of those best teams in the league, then they got to start playing better this week and next week and the week after that and the week after that and the week after that. Because the room for error is bubble. 7 losses, potentially you got a very likely shot at getting it. 6 losses, I mean, losing just 1 game the rest of the way. Like I said before, you got the Dolphins twice when you got Tua back. You got the Bills on your schedule still. You got the Texans on your schedule after the Patriots. You got the Seahawks on this schedule. Like, the Jets, as much as I want to say they have an easy schedule, they still have a tough schedule. And with Tua coming back, that changes their whole entire schedule. So, hit the freaking panic button, Jets fans. Hit the freaking panic button. Giants, they have a problem. Is it Brian Daboll or is it Daniel Jones? It's Daniel Jones. Simple. I mean, Daboll took him to the playoffs in 2022. Daboll went 3-3 with Tommy DeVito as his quarterback last year. Am I saying play Tommy DeVito? Yeah, I am. I'm saying give the guy a shot. Anything at this point is better than Daniel Jones. Drew Lock, he's not the long-term answer, but neither is Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones is awful. Malik Neighbors was pissed after week 7's blowout loss, 28-3. But Daniel Jones has not done anything. It's been 6 years of this guy. Is this the guy? Is this the guy? Is this the guy? No, he's not the guy. People have been saying it since 4 years ago, since 5 years ago, really. He is not the guy. Don't ruin Brian. Don't ruin this. You cannot get rid of Brian Daboll. Do not fire him. I was one of the guys saying fire him just a few days ago. Don't fire him. It's Daniel Jones. He's the problem. I kept my ears open. I listened to some people, and they talk some sense into me. You fire Brian Daboll, then what does that fix? And I'm saying it too. We fired Robert Saleh, and what did it fix? Nothing. Now, Daboll, 10 times the coach Robert Saleh is. For sure. Still fixes nothing. I think maybe, yeah, give Daboll a shot to get his own quarterback in here. That's not Daniel freaking Jones. Now, I'm not saying that quarterback is going to be Tommy DeVito, but get him and Joe Shane a chance to draft somebody because clearly they don't like Daniel Jones. Daboll wants to push the ball down the field. Jones can't throw the ball down the field. He's afraid to. It's like he's afraid to get turnovers. But at the end of the day, he does commit turnovers. So, they need a new guy under center. He's getting that shot in week 8 to start again, save his job, but ultimately I think he's going to get pulled at some point. Pittsburgh Steelers, New York Giants coming up next week. Knicks, opening night tonight. Boston Celtics. Knicks are a plus 200. Celtics minus 235 to win this game. 5.5-point favorite. The Knicks, man, are they legit NBA final contenders? I mean, I think we'll find out tonight. If we win, yeah. We got McCall Bridges. We got Karl-Anthony Towns. We got OG Anunoby. We got a superstar in Jalen Brunson. It's time to freaking roll. I don't think this is the final championship team. I still think there are moves to be made before the trade deadline comes up. That's not for a while away. But it starts tonight, baby. We got Bridges. We got Anunoby. Let's see how they can lock up freaking Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Let's see what Karl-Anthony Towns can do against Porzingis. Is Porzingis playing tonight? Porzingis is out. Porzingis is still out. Still out due to the surgery. At least another month. But yeah, this is going to be awesome tonight. I'm pumped for it. Not too much to talk about just yet because I haven't seen him play. But I've talked about it all summer long. McCall Bridges adds a lot to this team. Especially with OG Anunoby. You pair them up to guard wings. You don't got to double team Jaylen Brown. You don't got to double team Jason Tatum. At this point for the Knicks, and this is shocking that I'm about to say this. But at this point, this regular season, outside of these games, it's going to be boring. We're going to be really good. We're going to be really freaking good. So outside of the big games, it might be a little boring this year, guys. Still going to be fun that they're going to be this good. Jalen Brunson isn't going to be boring. But the Knicks in general might be boring because of how good they might be. Now, come playoff time, that's when it matters. So I think for the Knicks, it's get to the playoffs with this team healthy. I don't care if we get the 1 or 2 seed. I don't care if we get the 4 or 5 seed. Get there healthy, and this team can win a freaking finals. For sure. And we find out tonight going up against the reigning NBA champions. We were kind of bummed out we didn't get to play them in the Eastern Conference Finals last year when the Pacers took us in 7 games. But we'll see tonight. We can play with the best. We brought these guys in here for a reason. Karl-Anthony Towns making his regular season debut. Jalen Brunson. I mean, so is McCall Bridges as well. So that's another big one. 2 big additions in the starting lineup tonight. That's a big 3 right there. Brunson, Bridges, and Cat. Woo! Cat might drop like 25 a game this year. Brunson, he's going to score even more without Randall for sure. I mean, he's really the main guy. He's the engine of this team now for sure. Let's go over some bets tonight because let's go. I did sprinkle $10 on this game. I can't lie. I threw $10 on Nick. I do like to tell my friends which bets to take because they're all freaking stupid idiots. So let's go over what you guys should take if you're stupid idiots as well. And I use FanDuel, so we're going to be going over FanDuel numbers. One, you got to take into account Josh Hart is really the best rebounder on this Knicks team. So his over for rebounds right now is at 8.5. I think you got to hammer that. I'd be very confident. If I was a big-time gambler, I'd say I'd go over 8.5. If you want to take a lock tonight, that's the lock of the night. Josh Hart over 8.5 rebounds. You look at some of the player points. Jalen Brunson's at over 27.5. I like that. Karl-Anthony Towns over 21.5. That's at plus 102 right now on FanDuel. I like that as well. McCall Bridges over 14.5. I think that's a good one to take too. He is going to be having a hectic night, having to guard Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. Not sure who his defensive matchup is going to be just yet. But 14.5 points from McCall Bridges is a guy who averaged 20 a game 2 years ago and 19 a game last year. So Bridges, I do like that, but I definitely like the Karl-Anthony Towns one the most. I think he's scoring over 22 points tonight. I mean, so let's take a look at the starting fives. with the Celtics starting tonight. Knicks are Brunson, Josh Hart, McCall Bridges, OG Anunoby, and Big Cat Karl Anthony Towns. Al Horford. Lineup. You got Drew Holiday, Derek Wright, Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, Al Horford. So, Karl Anthony Towns, I do like that matchup for him. I do. Al's not as quick as he used to be. Can he get out to the perimeter to stop a shooter like Cat? Who knows? We'll find out tonight. But big night for the Knicks. Big night for the Knicks. Probably going to be going live either after the Knicks game or tomorrow talking about these Knicks because the season is about to get kicked off, and I'll have a lot more to talk about tomorrow. Going to try to get a guest on as well. Let's go Knicks tonight. And also, hockey is back, baby. Hockey is back. We got to get our Rangers guy, Frankie, back on the pod. Talk some Rangers. Get Bobby on the pod. Talk some Islanders. Rangers are playing tonight, 7:15 against the Montreal Canadiens. Whoa. Hockey is back in the full swing of things. All right. That's it for me. I'll see you guys tonight or tomorrow or I don't know when. Depends what work says to me because we're 5 a.m. every day this week. I don't know how I'm awake right now, but here we are. All right. Deuces, guys. Stay safe out there. Thank you for watching the James Nolan Podcast.